How you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here with another T&I toy review. And today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Miles Morales figure from Sony. Now this figure is being offered as a pack-in with the home release, the Blu-ray and DVD home release of the movie, which is out on shelves now. This particular version with the figure is a Walmart exclusive, and you can see this is the packaging with both the movie and the figure is displayed in the window box there on the front. You also get some artwork from the movie. On the back, there's really no indication of the figure. Everything on the back is really dealing with the movie itself. It does say up at the very top there, includes action figure inside, but this is pretty much the regular movie packaging, other than you do see the figure displayed there on the front. Okay, and here's a look at the figure outside of the outer packaging, and you can see it is included on its own card back, so it has its own unique packaging to it, which I think is cool. We saw Sony do the same thing when they released the Venom movie figure with the Venom movie, and this is a look at the actual movie, and I'm not going to be focusing on the movie at all in this review. It is a good movie. I saw it in the theaters, but this review is going to focus on this exclusive figure. So again, you got the card back with the artwork of Spider-Man. It says Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Up at the top, you've got the Sony logo and the Marvel logo. On the back, it's pretty basic. It's just black, and it says Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, so not a whole lot of detail on the back. But again, I do think it's cool that they included the figure in its own unique cardback type packaging. Okay, so here's a look at the figure out of the packaging, and while this is a basic figure, the articulation is very minimal on this figure, and I'll go over that in just a moment. What I like most about this figure is the unmasked head sculpt that is actually pretty movie accurate. Unlike, say, Hasbro, they did a Marvel Legend version of this character from the movie, but they got kind of lazy and just stuck a comic book head sculpt on there as opposed to a movie accurate one. And the overall detailing of this head sculpt I think is pretty good. You can see, you know, it looks pretty much like the character did in the movie, and the paint applications are pretty solid overall. I like the way the hair is done. The eyes look pretty good. Skin tone is good. So, you know, for a small little figure like this that's just a pack-in with the Blu-ray, I think they actually did a really good job here. Now for accessories, you get the alternate masked head, which actually, again, is pretty good. You actually have some actual webbing sculpted into the head there, so I like that. And then you've got the white eyes with the red around it. So even the masked head, I think, looks pretty good. And then you get this alternate web shooting right arm. And the reason why they include extra arms with these figures is, again, because the figures have minimal articulation. They do not have elbow joints, so they basically give you this alternate arm that has a bent elbow, so you can put them in some web shooting poses, and I'll show you how to switch those out in just a moment. First, switching out the heads, what you want to do is you just pop it off. It just plugs in with a little peg there. It's not even like a ball joint, and then you just slide on the alternate head. So that's what the masked head looks like, and again, I think it looks pretty good. I like the detailing with the etched in webbing, and you even got it on the back of the head there. So overall, you know, again, for a small little figure like this, I think they've done a good job with the little details like that. Now, switching out the arms is pretty easy. You just pull out the arm you want to replace. Now, one thing I want to note here is the pegs on these alternate arms, the arms that you can remove, so essentially the right arms, they're not circular pegs, so you can really only rotate the right arm up and down a little bit, but you can't rotate it all the way around. Same with the alternate web shooting arm. I don't know why they don't make these little pegs just circular so that you can rotate the arm all the way around, but as it is, that's about as far up and down as you can get it. With this arm, which is not removable, you can rotate this arm all the way around, but with this one, for some reason, you know, they did the same thing with the Venom figure. They made the pegs an odd shape so that you can't just rotate the arms all the way around. Okay, while we're on the subject of articulation, let's go over it for the entire figure. You can turn the head all the way around, left or right, but there's no pivot, no back and forth movement with this one. With the arms, with the left arm, you can rotate it all the way around, but not with the right. You can only do it up and down a bit. That's about as much as you can move that arm. There's no elbow articulation. There's no wrist articulation. There's no midsection articulation. With the legs, you can do the legs forward about that much, and then you can get the legs back pretty good there at the waist. You can, you know, about up that much, but there's no knee articulation. There's no thigh articulation, and there's no ankle articulation, and no peg holes on the bottom of the feet. And this figure stands right about 4 inches exactly. Here's a comparison of the Venom movie figure they did with the Venom movie. Here's a comparison of Hasbro's 4-inch Marvel Universe Miles Morales Spider-Man. This is a comic book version, and you can see it's a little bit taller. And if you were wondering if you could maybe take the unmasked movie head sculpt and stick it on that Marvel Universe comic book Miles Morales figure, unfortunately, because the ball on the top of the neck of the Hasbro figure is much bigger than what we see on these pack-in figures, you know, the hole on the head is not big enough to do that. Maybe you could try drilling out that hole a little bit and make it bigger, and you could try and get it on there, but it would be tough. You know, your space there is, I'm not sure, is even big enough to accommodate a hole the size enough to fit around this ball. But as it is, you can't just easily switch out the head sculpt. And then finally, here's a look at the Hasbro 6-inch Marvel Legends Into the Spider-Verse figure that they did, which was basically just a repaint of their comic book version, which is fine as far as the body goes. But again, unfortunately, they just stuck us with a comic book head sculpt as opposed to doing a new one that looked like the character from the movie. Okay, so that's my review. So I would say as a pack-in with the Blu-ray, if you were going to get the Blu-ray no matter what, I think this is definitely a cool addition to that. And if you were going to get the Blu-ray, this is the version to get with the figure. I like that it comes on its own card back, and in fact, I would probably recommend you just leave it on the card back and display it that way. Both this one and the Venom figure, you know, I would just leave in the card backs. The figure itself looks really good, and in fact is probably the most movie accurate looking version of Miles Morales we've gotten from anybody. But the articulation is very minimal, so from a action figure standpoint, there's really not a whole lot you can do with the figure other than just kind of stand it there. So that is definitely a drawback. But like I said, if you're going to get the Blu-ray and you're just looking for a really cool pack-in, I think this is the one to get. This is a Walmart exclusive, and it is out on shelves now. We'll have a full image gallery up at marvelousnews.com. Also, if you're interested in knowing more about the 3D diorama backdrop that you see in this video, be sure to check out the folks at Ready-Setz. I'll have a link to their website as well. They do these, they're foldable, they just fold down, they're good for play value and toy photography, and they do them for both 4-inch scale and 6-inch scale figures. They have two different versions. They have a city set and a space set. So again, I'll put a link to them if you want to find out more on those. So as always, leave a comment, let me know what you think. If you're so inclined, like the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. You should also hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. And of course, you can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I have links to those in the video description as well. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.